Why should I include IUL in my portfolio? I'm a business owner, I'm too old, Roth IRAs are better, I'd rather stay with my real estate, I already have an advisor. Maybe you shouldn't, genuinely. But here's 3 reasons why you might want to. Number 1, protection against market volatility. See, Daniel, I don't need protection against market volatility. I'll just buy and hold. See, here's what I'm gonna do, Daniel. when the market goes up, I'm just gonna invest a little. And when the market goes down, I'm gonna invest a little. And Daniel, I listened to Dave Ramsey and he told me the market average is 12%. See, here's the problem. 3 things. First, the market may have averaged 12% over a given time frame. But average is not the same as compound annual growth rate. For example, if you had $100,000 in an account and the market gained 100%, so now you have 200,000. And the next year, the market lost 50%. So now you're back to 100,000. You're right back where you started. The compound annual growth rate, because you're where you started, was 0. The average is 25%. So you did average 25% gain in the last 2 years, but you didn't gain anything. So the market might average 12%. Dave Ramsey might be right on this. But the compound annual growth rate, that's the number that matters. That's a little above 10. That's the first. Second, to be a part of this average compound annual growth rate, you actually have to buy and hold. There's average compound annual growth rate, and there's average investor return. The average investor return is in between 3 and 4% because even though everyone plans to buy and hold, they just don't. And you can't blame them. Ask yourself, if you, let's say you made $70,000 a year, you have a $2 million nest egg, that's your retirement bucket that you've stored up your entire life, you've been saving money responsibly and you've let that grow, you have $2 million. If the market went down 10% and you lost $200,000, almost 3 years of work, would you start to get nervous? Would you pull money out? Most people wouldn't. Some would get nervous though. What about 20%? You lose $400,000. Almost 6 years of work goes away. Would you have the emotional stability to stick it out? To just hold because the market will come back and people tell me it will? A lot of people would start to do that, but some wouldn't. But what about 2008? What if that happened again? What if the market went down 40%? You lost $800,000. 11 to 12 years of work you just watched gone like that. Would you have the emotional strength to just buy and hold? It'll come back. I'm not emotional about it. I leave my emotions at the door when we're talking finance. It's not a reasonable suggestion. People are humans. Now, if you think that you will be able to hold and do that, that's great. Just know that it's hard. It's very hard to do. A lot of the times we like to look at celebrities or a police officer or a person running for office. They should have done this. I saw them on camera. I would have done this. Would you have? And the third and final thing is assuming that because the compound annual growth rate over this period of time has averaged a little over 10%, that it will continue to. This is so wrong. See, the Great Depression never happened before, but it did. The dot-com bubble in the early 2000s hadn't happened before, but it did. The 2008 crash, we've never had 2 crashes like that, 40% this close to each other. Well, we did. That was a first. Japan, for example, from 1990, is still recovering from their crash. They still have not got back to even. If you were buying and holding in Japan, you are down from 35 years ago. Assuming that because the market has always done something that it will continue to is madness. There's a quote from my favorite book, Orthodoxy, G.K. Chesterton, incredible philosopher, I recommend it if you haven't read it. But he says, the real trouble with this world of ours is not that it is an unreasonable world, nor even that it is a reasonable one. The commonest kind of trouble is that it is nearly reasonable, but not quite. Life is not an illogicality, yet a trap for logicians. It looks just a little more mathematical and regular than it is. Its exactitude is obvious, but its inexactitude is hidden. Its wildness lies in wait. See, his point in that quote is, just because the sun has risen 1,000,000 times in a row doesn't mean that there's an inherent law that says the sun is going to rise tomorrow. For all we know, God is up in the sky just pressing a button. Do it again, do it again, do it again. Just because the market has done 10% for this period does not mean there is an inherent law that it's going to continue doing that. Japan is a perfect example. The Great Depression is an example. The 2000 to 2010 is a perfect example. You can't just use, because it's used this period of time where it's done this well, it's going to continue to do that forever. So with an IUL, for example, when you do lock in and reset, when you index, when each year when you make gains, you reset, and that's your new lowest that you'll ever go due to market downturns, that would protect against these kind of things. Second reason is liquidity. Now, in an ideal world, we have a certain amount of money, we put it away, we let it grow for retirement, we don't touch it, we have our little fund over here, we put away for emergencies, we borrow from that for emergencies and opportunities, and we're good. Frankly, for most people, it just doesn't play out like this. How many people do you know that haven't had some sort of crazy, unexpected emergency that cost them a lot of money? Or for entrepreneurs or business owners like myself, for example, we know the highest return that we'll actually ever get on any money is not in any sort of vehicle where we're going to gain 7 or 8 or 10%, but on our business or on ourselves. So opportunities arise. Dave Ramsey, for example, even says himself, he only recommends mutual funds and real estate. But he says he knows the highest return on his money he could ever get was putting it back in his own business. So if these opportunities come, we need to have liquidity. We need to be able to pounce. Imagine losing on a big opportunity because you're in a wrestling match with the person who's controlling your IRA, for example, trying to get the money out. I mean, these things make or break a lot of entrepreneurs' careers. Being resourceful and being ready and on your feet is one of the biggest things about being a business owner or being an entrepreneur. This is why having that liquidity is so important. IUL, for example, you might just log into your policy portal, click a few buttons, maybe sign a form, checks in your mailbox. Simple as that. Third is tax-free. I'm sure you were waiting for this one. Yes, we have our tax-free growth, access, and transfer. Here, I'm just going to focus on the tax-free growth and access portion. So many people get killed by having this $3 million nest egg that they think, woo, I have $3 million to spend, and they go to pull it out, and it's only $2 million, because why? Taxes. Now, yes, you can use different strategies to minimize these or different intricate things to try and get them a little bit lower from 33 to 30 or 33 to 28, but at the end of the day, the $3 million is turning into roughly $2 million one way or another. Now, that's not saying that tax deferred is a bad strategy or something you shouldn't have. It's actually can be great. It's probably something you should have as a part of your portfolio. But it's always important to actually know how much money you have. The next thing is, just like we have market volatility with money, to where we have money in the market that's going up and down and we're trying to avoid that, we also have that with tax rates. So right now, for example, let's say you were going to be in the 33% tax bracket. Well, 20 years from now, you're also placing a wager on that the tax brackets will stay the same. When you ask people, do you think taxes are going to go up, down, or stay the same? Usually there's crickets and a couple people saying up. Now, that's not going to say that they are going to go up. There's tons of debate on that topic. But just like you're placing a bet on the markets to continue to go up over time, you're also placing a bet on taxes to either stay the same or go down. So just as markets have volatility, tax rates have volatility as well. Now, there's plenty more arguments for IUL in terms of wealth transfer, college planning, liquidating real estate, estate planning, tons of things, and it doesn't really stop there. But these are 3 main reasons why I think IUL may be in your best interest. Pause the video here if you want to see a better comparison or in more detail of all of the different vehicles. It's a chart from Doug Andrews' book. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. I will see you there.